Okay, you guys, so what do I have here? I have warm water, I have salt, food coloring, some cups, and a container. Now, I will explain later that a smaller and more narrow container is the best option for this experiment, okay, you guys? So let's get started and we're going to see how we're going to do this. I'm going to start by adding my warm water into my cups. And now I am dyeing my water different colors, one color per cup. The more food coloring, the merrier. It makes the colors darker and it makes them stand out against one another much better. Now, I'm going to go and add my salt. Now, I mentioned that different liquids, different things, everything has different weight, okay? Just like I weigh more than you do. We're going to see that by adding salt to our water, we can change how much our water weighs. So this is important. This red cup here is not going to be getting any salt. My yellow cup here is going to get 1 scoop of salt. My green cup is going to get 2 scoops of salt. My blue cup is getting 3 scoops of salt. Okay? So friends, think in your head. This cup has no salt. This cup has 1 scoop of salt. This cup has 2 scoops of salt. And this cup has 3 scoops of salt. So which one do you think is going to end up being the heaviest? Well, we're going to find out. Now you can see the salt has settled on the bottom of the cup. You can even see that the blue has the most salt, green is in the middle here, and then the yellow cup has the least salt. So now I'm going to go and take my spoon and I'm going to stir and stir and stir until all of the salt dissolves. You can see that as I'm stirring, the salt on the bottom is disappearing because it is dissolving into the water. That's why warm water is important. You need warm water to dissolve your salt. Just like when we made our crystals, we always use warm water because that helps dissolve or break apart or destroy our salt. So I have to stir quite a bit because there's a lot of salt. It took me a while to do my blue because the blue had the most salt. But you can see that after a while of stirring, the salt on the bottom has now mixed nicely into the water. Okay, friends, so this is where things get a little tricky and a little time consuming. Go ahead and watch what I'm doing. I'm using my dropper to add water into my jar here. It was taking a long time because I can only grab a little bit of water at a time with the dropper. So I decided to just pour it in. Okay? And then I took my green and I very slowly and very carefully started adding it on top. See how long it's taking me, friends? I was getting pretty impatient, very tedious, and very slow. So I decided to try and just pour it in. But if you see, you can notice that the colors just mix together. We don't want that to happen, friends, okay? So I ended up deciding to use these mini glasses and I got rid of the jar, okay? I went back, stirred my salt water one more time, and I started over. All right, here we go. So friends, since blue has the most salt, it's going to go first, okay? And now you have to use your pipette or your dropper here, so it does take some time, but that's why smaller and more narrow or skinny containers are better, okay? It goes a little faster this way. So I'm dropping my blue into the bottom And then I'm very slowly and very carefully dropping in my green. So blue had the most salt, green had the second most salt. So green goes next. Very slowly, very carefully. This video is sped up, friends, okay? So it looks like I'm going fast, but I'm actually going very slowly. All right, yellow goes next because yellow has the least salt. Start with the most salt, go to the medium salt. Now we're on the least salt, which is yellow. Carefully and slowly drop it in. Lastly, we're adding in our red because our red doesn't have any salt, okay? We go from most to medium to the least salt to no salt at all. Do you guys see what's happening here? Look, oops, sorry about that. Look at our container. I see my blue, I see my green. It's kind of hard to tell, but my yellow is here, and then my red. They're staying separated. They're all made out of salt water, but they're staying separated. Look at that. We have a rainbow of salt water. Now I'm going to do it again. Add my blue in first. Now, friends, this is the real speed. I decided to slow it down and show you how slowly I'm going. Do you see how carefully and slowly I am adding in my green? Now, this is important because I do not want my green to mix with my blue, okay? When you do the middle colors, when you do green and yellow, it's very, very important that you go very slowly, okay? Because you do not want them to mix. You want them to stay separate, just like in our first container here, okay? So let's talk about the science. So if you guys said that the blue water was the heaviest because it had the most salt, then you were right. And that's why blue goes on the very bottom, because it's the heaviest. It's almost like it's sinking to the bottom because it's the heaviest. It has the most salt. And then green goes next, and then yellow, and then red goes last because it's the lightest. If you said that the red was the lightest, you were correct. The red is the lightest because it doesn't have any salt in it at all. Okay, so it goes last. So we see that our colorful layers stay separated because they weigh differently. They weigh different amounts. My blue is the heaviest, then my green, then my yellow, and then my red. Even though they're all water and salt, they weigh different amounts, so they stay separated. This is kind of like what I explained when we made our sensory bottle. We saw a layer of water, and then a layer of glitter, and then a layer of oil. Our water stayed on the bottom, and then our glitter stayed in the middle, and our oil floated on top. And that's because water weighed the most and oil weighed the least. And then the glitter was right in between. So they wouldn't mix because they weighed different amounts. That's the same thing that's happening here. We see the blue staying on the bottom, the green staying right above blue, the yellow staying right above green, and the red staying on top. They weigh different amounts, so they stay separated. They don't mix. So friends, here, I put a roll of paper towels so that you guys could see, because the white background helps us see the colors. So you guys can see our blue on the bottom, and then our green, and then we see kind of this yellowish orange where the yellow starts to meet the red. And then we see the red on the very top. Cool, right? Here's another picture. And another one. This one you can very much see the yellow layer and the green, okay? So again, when we went and put our salt in, we see blue had the most salt, so blue weighed the most. And then it goes green, yellow, red. Almost like first place, second place, third place, fourth place, where the first place weighs the most and the fourth place weighs the least. Okay? I'll show you guys one more time. The creation of our saltwater rainbows. There you have it, guys. Super cool.